Daring Marina use alternator trips. If we have low voltage, what will be the reason? Some problems related to miscellaneous questions that can come related to alternator that we will be discussing. So first discuss what are the alternator trips. Alternator trips are under voltage trip, reverse power trip, overcurrent trip, short circuit trip, overspeed trip, then professional trip. This can professional trip on MSB main switchboard. So trips are under voltage trip, reverse power trip, overcurrent trip, short circuit trip, overspeed trip, professional trip. These are the trips that we can remember, these three. And the condition is alternator not producing any voltage. What may be the reason? The reason may be loss of residual magnetism and loss of excitation. We can say loss of residual magnetism, loss of excitation, and failure of diodes. Inside this, there will be failure of diodes. Then malfunction of slip rings and brushes. So malfunctioning of the slip rings and brushes can be a reason. And faulty AVR, automatic voltage regulator. So it may be faulty. That may be reason. So alternator not producing any voltage means we can say faulty voltage regulator, loss of residual magnetism, loss of excitation, then failure of diodes, then malfunction of slip rings and brushes. These are the reasons for alternator. If it is not producing any voltage, we can understand that faulty automatic voltage regulator, then the failure of diodes, and there will be loss of excitation and loss of residual magnetism, and there will be malfunction of slip rings and brushes inside the alternator. Then, but if the another condition means if the alternator is producing voltage but it is not producing up to the full voltage, that is up to the level, then what will be the reason? That means prime mover, the RPM is less, prime mover's RPM will be less, then we can say loss of residual magnetism, then faulty automatic voltage regulator we can say, then air gap, it is if it is too high between stator and rotor winding, then also we can say it cannot produce the voltage up to the full level. Then short circuit in field coil, decrease in pole strength. These are the reason for producing voltage but not producing full voltage. So we can say prime mover RPM will be less, then faulty automatic voltage regulator, then loss in residual magnetism, there will be problem with residual magnetism, then short circuit in the field coil, air gap is too high between the stator and rotor winding. It should be between 0.6 mm. So if it is too high, then also we can say there will be problem. Air gap is too high, then also we can say there will be problem, and that means voltage cannot produce the required level. Then we can say it is producing voltage but it is not producing up to the level. So this may be reason. So air gap should be between we have to maintain the air gap between 1.5 to 2.2 mm. If it 2 mm, 1.5 to 2 mm. If air gap is become too high, then between stator and rotor winding, then it may be problem. So problem is the voltage cannot produce voltage up to the required level. That is, it can produce the full voltage. It will produce voltage but will be less. Then short circuit in the field coil, decrease in pole strength. So these are reason. Reason means prime mover RPM is less, then loss in residual magnetism, faulty automatic voltage regulator, the air gap between the stator and rotor winding is become too high. Normally we should come between 1.5 to 2 mm. If it gone above very high, then our voltage production will be less, and short circuit in field coil, decrease in pole strength. These were the reasons for producing voltage but not producing full voltage. Thank you.